Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we've got quite a stack of sources here, all tackling this phrase we hear constantly. We can't afford that.
Right, whether it's huge government decisions or even just how we manage our own time.
Exactly. And these sources, they're really pushing back. They feature perspectives from folks like Zohran Mamdani, activists, thinkers, who argue we've fundamentally misunderstood affordability.
Yeah, that it's less about the bank balance and more about something else.
So our mission today, we want to explore this, well, pretty challenging idea that when someone says they can't afford something important, maybe societal, maybe organizational, they might actually just be making a choice.
Disguising a priority, essentially.
Yeah, we're trying to pick apart, when is it a real budget issue versus when is it really a lack of commitment?
It's a really vital reframing because it shifts the whole debate, doesn't it? Away from just numbers on a page.
Towards values.
Exactly, towards values. The sources are arguing pretty strongly that the real price isn't just dollars and cents. It's also about, well, courage. Courage to change.
Courage to change, and fundamentally what we decide is most important. So the question isn't just, can we afford this? It's becoming. What's the invisible price we're already paying because we're not doing it?
Okay, let's dive right into that central idea then. This is where it gets interesting. The research says affordability is tied directly to priorities.
Right.
And that phrase, we can't afford that, often it's just a convenient way out, a misdirection.
Yeah, a way to avoid maybe uncomfortable commitments. And the sources, they give some pretty stark examples, especially at the structural level.
Like government spending.
Like government spending.
Wow.
Think about the essentials, universal health care maybe, or good public schools, affordable housing.
Things people really need.
Absolutely. But you often hear, oh, the budget just can't handle it. It's fiscally impossible.
I hear that all the time. But then,
exactly, as the sources point out, look at defense spending. Or when a big crisis hits that needs, massive stimulus.
Suddenly billions appear. Billions are found, yeah. And often with a lot less political wrangling. Now, this isn't saying the money magically exists for one and not the other.
No, it's about will.
It's evidence of political will. It shows where the core values, the real priorities, are actually set. The budget constraint seems to, evaporate when the priority is high enough.
Okay, I definitely see that at the government level.
Yeah.
But what about, say, in business? Sometimes that reluctance feels more tangible, like prioritizing new software over staff development.
That's a fair point.
Isn't there genuine pressure if competitors are adopting tech faster?
There is pressure, absolutely. But the sources dig into why that choice is made. New tech often falls under capital expenditure, CapEx.
Right.
It gives you immediate, trackable results, faster processing, more output, plus sometimes tax benefits.
Measurable ROI.
Exactly. Measurable ROI. Investing in your people, though. Training, better pay, retention efforts. That's often seen as operating expense, OPEX.
A cost center.
A cost center, yeah. And the return on that investment, things like better morale, less turnover, maybe more innovation down the line, it's harder to quantify. It's slower.
Doesn't fit neatly on the quarterly report.
Precisely. So when a company says we can afford this $500,000 software, but we can't afford a $5,000 raise pool for our best people.
They're making a statement about what they value more.
They're telling you loud and clear that short-term measurable system gains are valued more highly than long-term human capital. It's a value judgment masked as a budget necessity.
And wow, we do this ourselves too, don't we? In our personal lives. Maybe we don't use the word afford exactly, but we say, I can't afford the time off, or I can't afford to learn that new skill, or even just take a break.
Right, can't afford to rest.
But we always find the time when the crisis hits, right? When we burn out completely.
Always.
Or face a health scare, or our career stalls because we didn't grow. The cost of recovery is always way higher.
Always more than the cost of prevention. It's that classic urgent versus important trap. We put out fires constantly.
And end up paying a much bigger bill later.
And that really is the core of this first part, connecting it back to the big picture. Those systems, governments, businesses that skip the crucial long-term preventative stuff, they're effectively choosing to pay the massive, often destructive cost later on.
So the question flips.
It flips entirely. It's not, can we afford this now? It's, what are we already paying right now in damage and dysfunction by ignoring this?
That cost. That's a perfect segue, actually, because it leads us straight into the next big idea from the sources. The hidden, sometimes enormous costs of just settling for average.
Yeah, this is fascinating. We tend to think average or playing it safe is, the zero-cost option.
The default, risk-free.
Right. But these sources argue quite forcefully that average is actually incredibly expensive, maybe one of the most expensive choices.
How so? Where are these hidden costs?
Well, average isn't free. It just moves the costs off the balance sheet and into the shadows.
Yeah.
The sources talk about specific things that don't show up on reports but really undermine things,
Oh,
like a lost innovation. Teams just stop suggesting bold ideas because they learn only tiny safe steps get approved.
the good enough trap.
Exactly. Or low morale, that quiet quitting where talented people just check out mentally because they see the organization values just coasting over actually striving for something better. Progress slows right down.
And that stagnation has real consequences. Like if a company uses average security because a full upgrade is too expensive.
They're paying an invisible premium in risk. The potential cost of a breach could dwarf the upgrade cost.
Or a city settling for average infrastructure. The cost shows up in traffic jams, lost productivity, maybe even safety issues.
Yeah, and another great example from the readings was about customer experience. Let's say a service business decides we can't afford proper staffing levels or decent training for frontline workers.
Saves money on payroll up front.
Looks good initially, sure, but the hidden long-term cost, customer loyalty tanks, negative reviews pile up. Eventually, they might need a huge, expensive rebranding campaign just to fix the damage.
Which costs way more than the training ever would have.
Infinitely more, potentially. It really forces you to rethink that whole cost-benefit calculation.
It's so counterintuitive what the sources are saying here. Playing it safe often costs more than taking bold action.
It does sound backward, doesn't it? But bold action is often about investing proactively, playing it safe. That's often just delaying necessary costs until they snowball.
It's the opportunity cost plus the eventual repair cost.
Exactly. Think about ignoring salary reviews because you can't afford raises right now.
You pay later.
You pay later through high turnover, constantly recruiting, onboarding, training new people to replace the experienced ones who left for better pay. That whole cycle. It's massively more expensive than just investing in your current team would have been.
Okay, so if the diagnosis is affordability is often a priority choice, and the consequence is paying these hidden costs of settling for average.
Then we need the solution.
Right. Which brings us to the third segment, purpose over permission.
I like that framing.
The idea here, drawn from the sources, is that if you truly grasp what you're already paying by ignoring a problem,
The cost of inaction.
yes, then that refusal to ignore it has to become the driving force. It has to override the convenient "we can't afford it" narrative.
And this is where examples of leadership become really important. The sources highlight figures like Mamdani again,
How so?
by showing how he challenged existing systems, fought for things like affordable housing, tenant rights, even when it wasn't popular or easy.
He wasn't waiting for permission, basically.
Exactly. He wasn't waiting for some committee to decide it was fiscally convenient to tackle poverty. The moral imperative, the refusal to ignore the human cost, demanded action.
He reframed it.
He reframed it entirely. The issue wasn't the budget difficulty of funding housing. It was the cruelty of choosing not to fund it, given the unacceptable costs people were already paying.
That shift from asking for budget permission to demanding action based on purpose, that seems key.
It's the necessary jump. And there's a quote in the material that just nails this. It's not about what we can afford, it's about what we refuse to ignore.
Wow, that's powerful. Say that again.
It's not about what we can afford, it's about what we refuse to ignore.
So when you genuinely refuse to ignore something, a big societal problem, or even just inefficiency eating away at your team, that refusal becomes your mandate.
It becomes the driving force. It provides the moral authority, the intellectual framework to actually go find the resources to make the case.
But that takes, well, it takes guts.
It demands courage, absolutely. Courage is kind of the fuel for purpose, isn't it? It lets you push past the people who are just clinging to the status quo, to average.
And the final point the sources make.
It's simple, but it hits hard. Courage is cheaper than regret.
Oof.
Regret is that final massive bill you pay for settling, for ignoring the problem until it blew up, for not acting when you knew you should have. Courage. That's the upfront investment that prevents that future pain and actually enables progress.
Okay, that feels like a really solid place to wrap up this deep dive. As you, listening, think about applying these ideas maybe in your career, your community, your own life. Let's recap those 3 core takeaways.
Sounds good.
First, lead with purpose, not permission. See the need. Let your core values drive you. Don't wait for the green light or the perfect time.
Second, redefine affordability. Stop seeing it as just a price tag. See it for what it is, a reflection of priorities, of choices, of what you truly value. What are your non-negotiables?
And third, remember that killer line. Courage costs less than regret. Making the tough call now, prioritizing the difficult but necessary action. Always less painful than the eventual cost of inaction.
Definitely. And building on that, given all these hidden costs we've talked about, lost innovation, low morale, personal burnout, system failures, we want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. In your own world, your life, your team, your organization, where is playing it safe actually the most expensive option right now? What's the one courageous action you could take, maybe even today, to start shifting that priority?
Something to really think about. Stay curious, everyone. Stay bold, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.